just doing a wee tutorial here. I'm going to give you 4 chords, guys. G major, C major, D major, and E minor. If you want to write those down, that's great. This is for brand new guys out there. Some of the guys aren't too sure or have lost how to play a certain chord. Here it is. These squares are known as frets. These here metal boys are fret bars. When you are playing a certain song, for instance, if I asked you to put your finger on a certain string and a certain fret, so each string it's counts from the bottom up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 6 strings. The name of those strings are E, A, D, G, B, E. An easy way to remember that is Eddie, et, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. Now, for instance, if I ask you to put I can call these fingers here index or number 1 finger, middle or 2nd finger, ring or 3rd finger, 4th finger or pinky. Either of those is grand. When you are playing a chord, you have to make sure your fingers are tight to the fret bar. You don't want to be playing way over here because it buzzes. If it's close to the nice and fret bar and holding down firm, it helps. That's the way you try to do it each time. So keep your fingers, every time you're inside a fret, try and keep the fingers as close to the fret bars as possible when you're holding onto a string to play a chord. And I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be really hard on your fingers at the start. It's going to be quite sore because you have to press the strings very firm and so the chord plays right. You don't want it buzzing and making little annoying noises. You see all those guys on YouTube and on social media left, right and centre talking about, oh, it's so easy to pick up a guitar, everyone to learn guitar, it's so easy. Bullshit. It takes a lot of effort and practice and persistence. If you haven't got the patience for that, you're beat already. But it's like everybody had to be patient with it who learned the guitar. So that's what it's all about. Just being patient, having lots of practice and loads of persistence, and keep it lit. So I'll start now, and I'll play these 4 chords for you, which is the pinky on the 1st string on the 3rd fret, fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, fret 5, 6, and so on. So pinky on the 1st string, 3rd fret, ring finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, 1st finger or index finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret, and my middle finger, 2nd finger, on the 6th string, 2nd fret. Now that's a G chord. Now when you are strumming these chords, you want to be sure each finger is touching the strings I've mentioned only. You don't want them touching below because for instance, I'll pick the 4th string there. It should not be rumbling. It should be ringing out. So if it sounds like that there when you're strumming it, you're touching it with your 1st finger most likely. And it's the same for when you're playing another song. Make sure your finger isn't touching the string below, unless directed by me or whoever, or someone showing you guitar. So you only want to touch those 4 strings and strum through all the strings, and it should sound like this. If it sounds like this here, there's something going on. You're touching strings, or you're not pressing the strings hard enough, and see, pressing the strings hard enough, it is so sore in your fingers at the beginning, and eventually your fingers the skin will get firm and get tough on them, and then you will get there. So this is your G chord. Make sure your fingers are coming in straight in and not lying down like that on them, straight in and touching the strings only that I've said. Some people play a 3-finger G. Now this can be a little bit of a stretch, but eventually your fingers do get used to it, but it's just practicing it. You need to be practicing up to half an hour or 30 minutes per day. Now, if after 10 minutes you're getting frustrated and it's getting sore, take a break and come back after a little while, or come back that night and play it for 10 minutes more, and then a while later play it another 10 minutes. Try and get the 30 minutes in each day. And then eventually, the more you do it, the sooner it becomes comfortable in your fingers. You see those little marks on my skin there? It's not hurting me, but it will hurt you until your skin gets hard. That's what pressure you have on your strings. You know? So, there's the G chord, which I just showed you. Strum through all those 6 strings. Then there's an E minor chord, which is 2 strings this time only, which is good. So you're pressing with your index and your middle finger, or 1 and 2 fingers. You're pressing string 5 on the 2nd fret, and you're pressing string 4. As I said before, you want to hear, in case you were touching the strings below by accident using by these fingers here, maybe you're pressing the strings 3 below by accident, you know, you don't want to do that. You want to hear all strings rumming out. If it's going like the 5th string is sounding like that, and the 4th string, that means you're not pressing them right. And that is sore in the fingers, and I'll understand you're getting frustrated and you want to throw the guitar in the bin. Don't do that. Don't do that. You want to practice, and if you keep practicing, it will come to you. I had to do it. Anybody that plays guitar had to do it. So, and it's the same with yourself. So that's an E minor. So that was a G, an E minor. And now we're going to go to another chord called a C. Now, what you can do with this is keep your middle finger where it is on the 2nd fret, which is the middle finger staying on the 4th string, 2nd fret. It helps you balance, so you're holding your hand balancing. And then you're putting your 1st finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret, but then you're putting your ring finger on the 5th string, 3rd fret. Now that's a stretch, see, from there to there. It doesn't look like it, but it is tricky, it is quite tough. Exact same. You want to hear all strings run out. Now if you don't hear them all running out, then there's something wrong. Now sometimes it is quite tricky for beginners. The little 1st string might not ring out, but I'll forgive you in this, but try and work on it that you're reaching your hand up rather than holding it down tight against the strings. Just practicing. And the next chord was the last chord, which is a D chord, which will be your 1st finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, your middle finger or 2nd finger on the 1st string, 2nd fret, so 2 fingers on here, and then your ring finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So, and you're really only strumming from the 4th string strumming from 4, 3, 2, 1. You're not really meant to strum from the top. If you hit it by accident, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to scold you. Shit happens, you know. So that's the 4 chords. The G, E minor, or and C, and D. Now, a nice wee way to practice those songs is when you play the D. So remember, there's just the 4 strings. You keep your ring finger on. Also, but you stick your pinky down. So you've got these 2 fingers down now. Lift the 1st and 2nd finger off. Switch them. And rewind the video back or replay it, whatever you need to do to see where I did the G at the start. So that's your D. Your ring finger isn't moving. You put your pinky on and lift string fingers 1, 2. then what you're doing from there is you're keeping your first finger on and lifting these 3 fingers off. But you're sliding your first finger down this way a little bit. And you're placing your second finger on the 4th string. And that's your E minor. Then you're keeping your middle finger on, lifting the rest off. Put your first finger onto the 2nd string 1st fret, and your middle finger onto the 5th string 3rd fret. Now you see the distance my hands go from here, it sort of stretches. It's kind of tricky. So that's really what you want to do. You want to go from you can start off on your D. You're using your middle finger, or your ring finger, sorry, as a pivot. And your wee pinky finger, G. Then you use your first finger as a pivot to help you balance to an E minor. Then you're using your second finger as a pivot to the C. And then you can come back to the E minor, lift every finger off but your index, switch to the G, just slide this finger down a little bit so that you can get your second finger to the 6th string, and then keep your ring finger on, lift your pinky off and place those 2s on. So, looks like this. So, you want to hear all the strings running right, alright? You want to hear them all beaten out, stringing, so that you see that you're not touching the strings below. That's what you do, you run your fingers through slowly. Sorry. Just do that each time you're playing a chord. So they're all running out. That's good, that's good. So that's what it should sound out, or sound like. Your D, your G, your E minor, your C, now you might think that there's a bit tricky, and what uses those chords to me. There's so many songs you can play with those 4 chords, but what you want to do is practice. It's not only practicing. You can sit and say, oh, I can play a G, oh I can do a D. Try and switching like that to an E, so a D, G, E minor, C, so C, E, G, D, D, G, E, C. It sounds so tricky, and it will be at the beginning. But if you practice those, and I know they will become out so annoying and so frustrating, trying to stretch your fingers and the fingers hurting, and you want to put the guitar in the skip or the dump, whatever. Don't do it. Practice and practice and practice, and do it every day. And if there's something wrong or you need more tips, or comment below, and I will definitely try and help you. And I don't mean to talk on, but for beginners, you do need to listen and understand the difficulties. But it's all up to you. You want to be able to play the guitar, you practice and you will get there. By the end of the month, you could have songs playing. You know, those 4 chords there. That's those 4 chords. That's a funky version of Stand By Me, but there's many other ways of playing it. But that's just giving you an example. Now, do practice those chords, and then, and maybe next week, I'm going to stick up another wee video with a few additional chords, and you can practice on those too. Maybe if you've mastered like an E minor and that, and you find it quite easy, which should be a more straightforward chord, I'll give you a few other little chords, and really work on it and do your best. Seriously, it does take practice, and if at the end of the week you're thinking to yourself, oh, it's not working for me, just just don't get frustrated. Just set it down, go for a cup of tea, get a drink of water, come back in an hour's time, and give it another go. Now, I'm telling you, I'm not there with you to keep guiding you, so please just message me below and ask me questions, and if I can help you, I definitely will. And I wish you the best. It's a great journey. You know, if you keep practicing in 6 months' time, when you're sitting playing a few songs and you're thinking, what was all the fuss about? What was all the fuss about? It's worth it. It's like anything. You have to learn to drive. You have to learn to walk. You have to learn to ride a bike. You know, it's all a part of life, and here's a big part of your life if you can get it learned. So good luck, and hopefully a thumbs up, likes and shares, and post this to your friends who maybe want to learn the guitar, and see if I can help them. And if you have any questions or any advice you want to give to me that maybe you'd all recommend it done a certain way, come back to me and I'll try and help you. So good luck, and speak to you very soon.